Sierra Leone is last of 10, facing a lot of traffic to deal with onto the far turn. Boot to Cachet has made the top clear, leads at a length. Against the rail, Diddy a second by a head. Caitlin, Her Greatness, the leader. Caitlin, Her Greatness leads at a length and a half as they go to the far turn, oversubscribed. His second and a half length. She feels pretty, third to the inside, pounces a wide fourth to the turn. War Campaign draws within a half length of the lead. Now matching strides, Kings Barnes moves up behind him on the outside. Epic Ride swings wide, just a touch between horses. Dornock has to shift lanes along with Sierra Leone. Boot to Cachet still has the lead. Didia, English Rose toward the inside. She Feels Pretty has the lead in the final furlong. Kings Barnes in front. Final furlong of the Ben Ally Stakes. Boot to Cachet, 25-1 upset under Frankie Dettori. Sierra Leone comes forward for the lead in deep stretch and wins the Toyota Bluegrass. She Feels Pretty, a dominating performance.
And welcome in, everyone, to the Keeneland Look Ahead podcast for Wednesday, April the 9th. Hope you had a great Toyota Bluegrass Day on Tuesday. It's a little different having the big race at this point in the meet. We are set now 3 days into the 15-day stand, our fourth straight preview of 8 tonight as we race Sunday through Sunday. This is technically the beginning of the second week of the meet with tomorrow's action on Wednesday, but it all runs together in this very interesting 2025 stand. Hope that your Bluegrass Day was full of green and had a good day at the windows. If you missed the action today and you work for a living, we understand that. We're happy you're joining us here this evening to preview the Wednesday card. If you didn't catch up with the action this afternoon, here's a great montage of the stakes highlights from this big Tuesday card.
They're off in the Appalachian, presented by Japan Racing Association. Nitrogen to win it for Jose Ortiz in the Appalachian, presented by Japan Racing Association. Extra Anejo will get there for Flavian Pratt on the line. Positano Sunset, the best turned out, is the winner. Think Big on the outside, Rogue Lightning inside. Think Big gets up in time to win the Valvoline Global Shakertown for Ben Curtis. Trying Burnham Square, unleashing a final try down to the wire. Burnham Square gets there. A last to first run in the Toyota Bluegrass under Brian Hernandez Jr.
Tremendous finish in the Bluegrass Stakes today between two horses who had already won over the track here. Burnham Square debuted in a maiden claimer 150 last year during the fall meet. And of course, the runner-up in here, East Avenue, comes up a nose short and a chance to become a rare winner of the Breeders' Futurity at 2 and then come back at 3 at Keeneland and win the Bluegrass Stakes. Both of those runners expected to move on to the Kentucky Derby out of that race. Some of the others, well, didn't work out quite as well for them. River Thames, the third place finisher, should have enough points to move on to the Derby as well if Todd Pletcher and company choose to do so. So it looks like we'll get 3 starters out of the Bluegrass, the 1, 2, 3 finishers heading towards the Kentucky Derby. Things didn't go so well for the Tampa Bay Derby alumni today. They ended up in here dead heating for 6th in the 7-horse field. That was Owen Almighty and Chancer McPatrick. Both were in with chances and just came up empty in the end. And all 7 runners in this race finished within 4.5 lengths of either 4.25 lengths of each other. So a group heaped finish. A lot of times a handicapper will say that's not a great sign when everybody finishes in a clump. They also came home on the slow end. Final 3 furlongs, 39-37 of the Bluegrass Stakes. So they're going to have to move forward to be serious contenders to win the Kentucky Derby. But you've got 4 weeks to train now, a little under that, to get set for the Run for the Roses. So Bluegrass in the books. If you didn't catch the Bluegrass, let's give you a chance now to go gate the wire in the Bluegrass Stakes, and then we'll get to handicapping the Wednesday 8-race card.
And they're off at the Toyota Bluegrass Stakes. There goes Owen Almighty, and East Avenue goes with him. Oh, and almighty East Avenue come right to the front as a team as they head down into the first turn. East Avenue from the outside moves up and is determined to have the lead. Clears now with the lead. Gets over to the rail, and East Avenue will guide the field around the first turn. Opens up by 3 lengths. Oh, and almighty is second by 2.5 here early on with River Thames in third position, and is followed by Rendered Judgment against the rail in fourth, a half length. Chancer McPatrick fifth on his outside. Admiral Dennis is sixth, and Burnham Square last of the 7. Running 10 lengths off the lead. The opening quarter went in 22.95 seconds. East Avenue, the leader. East Avenue, a 3-length lead. Midpoint of the backstretch. Owen Almighty, second, 3/4 of a length. River Thames, third up on the outside. Then a gap of 2 more lengths. Rendered Judgment is fourth by just a neck. Chancer McPatrick is still there with him in fifth. Followed by Admiral Dennis in sixth. And Burnham Square last of the 7. 46.95 seconds the time for the first half mile. Over to the far turn they go. East Avenue, the leader by 2 lengths. Owen Almighty is second by just over 2. And now River Thames picks up the chase from third. Rendered Judgment is fourth. Chancer McPatrick is 6 lengths off the lead in fifth. Burnham Square has to go wide from last. Around Admiral Dennis, they move for the top of the stretch. East Avenue, the lead now down to just 1 length. Owen Almighty is in second position off the turn. River Thames is in third. Burnham Square still has a lot of work to do. Moves out to the center of the racetrack. Coming into the final furlong. Owen Almighty challenging East Avenue. River Thames seeks to join them. Admiral Dennis runs late toward the rail. Burnham Square from the outside. They've got to get East Avenue. He's got the lead in deep stretch. He leads a length and a half. River Thames is still trying. Burnham Square unleashing a final try down to the wire. Burnham Square gets there. A last to first run in the Toyota Bluegrass under Brian Hernandez Jr.
That nose was worth over $10,000. In fact, $10,324 in the all stakes pick 5 if you had it. Thrilling finish there. Big day for Flavian Pratt. He had 3 wins today, 2 for jockey Jose Ortiz. Ortiz has had a double on Sunday and Tuesday, riding well. Again, a big day for Pratt today. In news on the jockey front, though, perennial leading rider Luis Saez went down in a race to Spill. His mount was kind of sideswiped in the stretch run. He was thrown to the ground, trampled a bit. He had to go to the hospital. He spent part of the night in the hospital. We don't know if he's been released yet, but on Twitter, his agent, Kieran McLaughlin, the former trainer, posted this. Want to share it with you. He said he just spoke with the doctor at the University of Kentucky who said Luis Saez will be sore tomorrow, but there's nothing broken. So that's good news. Luis wants to ride tomorrow, McLaughlin said. We'll see how he's feeling in the morning. Thanks to everyone for the well wishes. That from former trainer Kieran McLaughlin, who is now the jockey agent for Luis Saez. So good news there. I don't know if we're going to see Saez back tomorrow. If we don't, certainly there will be some live mounts up for grabs like there were today on the card. Seems like Joel Rosario did a good job picking up mounts there with Saez being out. You expect the other top riders to get them on board with some of their horses if indeed we do not have Luis Saez. But the good news is no major injuries. We already lost Tyler Gaffalione to this meet. He was injured with an ankle injury before the Keeneland meet started. So it'd be a shame to have both Gaffalione and Saez, who typically battle 1-2 in the standings every meet here at Keeneland, out for any length of time. So hopefully we get Saez back tomorrow, but we're not quite sure. Keep an eye on the scratches and changes tomorrow. 11:30 a.m. Eastern with the Today at Keeneland program with Scott and Gabby. They'll give you the latest news in the morning. I'll also try to keep you updated through Substack tomorrow, as well as on X at Horseplayer Now. As for other action today, we had 3 winners in the handicapping column. So nothing big shakes, though. A lot of $6, $7 kind of horses. We're not getting the big price plays in. We did have the one $17 horse yesterday, but not having luck kind of delivering some of the bigger ones for us. So right now we're going 3 for every day. It seems like hitting right about 30%, 3 for 10, 3 for 10, and 3 for 11 today. We'll try to pick that up. Big day for Brad Cox. He had 3 wins almost right off the bat. I think he won 3 of the first 4 or 5 on the card. Mark Cassie won 2 to go along with his Ashland Stakes winner on Monday's program. So Mark Cassie off to a great start. And 2 wins today for Ian Wilkes, including that one with Burnham Square winning the Bluegrass Stakes. Big day for Ian Wilkes and his outfit there. So a lot to talk about on the track, but let's get to some handicapping for the Wednesday program. We've got a carryover to talk about on Wednesday. It's in the Toyota Super High Five. Nobody solved the high five in the finale. Horse who was big even money favorite just backed out of it on the far turn and That kind of sent things into a little bit of chaos. I think it was a $30-some winner in the finale. $32,121 in the Super High Five carryover. And we've got a horse we like in the finale. So that's the way we want to see it shake out here on the Wednesday card. Now, just 8 races on Wednesday. You see my key plays are going to come up in races 2, 5, and 8. So maybe we can lock down that Toyota Super High Five with the carryover. With an 8-race card, there's some big overlap in races 4 and 5. I call them swing races. You really want to do extra handicapping on races 4 and 5 for the Wednesday program. Because look at this. The early pick 5 will be races 1 through 5. The early pick 5 or early pick 4 will be races 2 through 5. Now, when you start to pick off the late sequences, the late pick 5 is going to start in race number 4. So race number 4 is part of the early pick 4, the early pick 5, and the late pick 5. Race number 5 on the card is part of everything. You've got the late pick 4 starting there. It ends the early pick 4. It ends the early pick 5. And it also will be part of the late pick 5. So race number 5 is an absolute key to the program. You hope you have a horse you really like there. And quite honestly, I think the best bet of the meet so far comes up in race number 5 on Wednesday, at least in terms of my confidence level. So 2 races you really want to have an opinion on this Wednesday card. Race 5 with all those swing races coming in and out of it in the multi-race sequence. And the Super High Five, if you enjoy playing that wager with the big takeout, you should obviously take a look at it. Or not with the big takeout, but with the big carryover. You want to take a big look at it. $32,121. So I like the way things set up. And this is kind of why we do the overview and the snapshot of the card like that. You want to see where your opinions match up with the wagering menu. You don't want to force feed things. If you don't have a strong opinion one day, you're not just jumping in playing a sequence. So find out who you like first, put it to the wagering menu, do something similar like I do with this snapshot when you do your own handicapping. Figure out where all the wagers are, where everything crosses over, then take your opinions, put them together and see, okay, what pools should I be playing in today? I think the pick 4s and pick 5s are very important for me because I love a horse in the 5th. And again, with a top choice that we really like in the 8th and final race, might be a chance to tackle that Super High Five. Let's get into the handicapping, starting off in race number 1. 57 degrees, the forecasted high. Going to be a little bit warmer in Lexington. Sunny skies, so we should have a fast track, good turf course, if not getting closer to firm. 9 entries or more in all 8 races, so nice field sizes to deal with as we get into this card. Let's go to the opener. Maiden claiming sprinters in here. They are going the tough 7 furlong distance. In this race, we got a full field of 9, pretty full field in here. I ended up going with the 3 Victorious Nyquist, one of those handicapping angles I really like, laying off, turning back in distance, and firing a bullet in the morning for Kaio Karamori. So I think this is a horse who fits really nice running back fresh. You get a filly who's by Nyquist, a top-notch sire here at Keeneland, scores over 20% with a positive ROI with the offspring. Victorious Nyquist going to be my choice in this spot. Also a 4-year-old in this race going against some 3-year-olds. We've got our first 3-year-olds in up races starting. Victorious Nyquist going to be my top choice in here, along with Gabby as well. As for the others, pretty wide open field. The 4 Rockaway Reef, the 5 Ashes and Diamonds, and the 6 Stage Presence also get top picks from the various handicappers. So 5 handicappers, 4 different folks got runners on top in here. But Gabby and I going with the 3 Victorious Knight. With these 3-year-olds in up races starting here today, and we'll get to see more of them throughout the meet, it's an early time of year for 3-year-olds to be taking on older horses. Because of that, there's quite a weight discrepancy in here. In this particular race, the older horses carry 125, and the younger horses, the 3-year-olds, will carry 118. So there's a 7-pound spread. When it comes to weight, a lot of people dismiss it. They say, what's 5-6 pounds to, 1,000, 1,100-pound animal? But I think it's significant. It's physics, right? I mean, if you ever did anything in physics, the more mass you have to carry, the more it slows you down. And you say, well, how much is it going to slow a horse down? Well, think a length is about like 0.16 seconds. It's less than a fifth. It's about a sixth of a second. So if it slows you down, a third of a second, that's 2/6. That's 2 lengths. And so a lot of these races are determined by a lot less than 2 lengths. So, I think it can be a significant factor, but not enough that I want to play a 3-year-old against older horses. If you are going to do that in these races, then I think the shorter distances, then it's probably not as big a deal. You get the 2-turn races, maybe it's a little bit more significant with the weight that they have to give to the others. But in this particular race, in a 7-furlong sprint, 1 turn, I'd stick with the older horses in this particular spot. I've got it 3-1-6 in race number 1 as we start the early pick 5 off. With a race, you probably need to get a little bit of coverage in. I wouldn't just lock down on the 1 in here and feel too comfortable. The 6-stage presence for an Eddie Keneally barn. It's off to a fast start. Traditionally does well with maiden claimers. He's won 2 similar races to this in spring meets, going 7 furlongs in recent years. So stage presence, the 6 certainly want to keep an eye on. So 3-1-6, I would at least use those. The 4 and the 5 get love on top from other handicappers. This is a bit of a spread race as we start off the early pick 5 here in the opener. Back to the snapshot we go, and race number 2 is my first of 3 key plays on the card. This is a race at 6.5 furlongs and a $20,000 open claimer that'll also kick off the early pick 4. So while we spread a little bit in race number 1, maybe we can lock down a top choice in here. Number 9, Business Model, going to be my play in this particular spot. Business Model, also the top pick in here for Tom Leach. This is David Jacobson and Irad Ortiz teaming up. Of course, we talked about this the other day. They won 3 of 4 teamed up together during the spring and fall last year at Keeneland. Must respect these connections when they team up locally. They did get beat earlier in the meet when we tried to chase them, but we're going to come right back to him. Business Model, top choice in here. The other reason I like this horse is the form cycle. Second start off the laid off 3 full months, came back in March and ran a decent 4th. Didn't break as fleet as you might want. Got to get out of the gate a little bit better here. You switch to Ortiz. Horse has a good Keeneland record. Business Model, a win from 3 starts over the track as well as a 3rd place finish. Like the outside post position here, going 6.5. Not a horse who's going to be up there ding-donging for the lead. I think he'll be able to kind of draft in and get a little bit better position. Some of the speed will go from the inside. The 2's got speed. The 5 has speed. The 6 has speed. So I think the 9 can kind of tuck in a little bit. Doesn't have to be hung wide into the turn, and a pretty decent run at 6.5 to the only turn. So give me the 9, Business Model, as one of my key plays of the day, starting things off. And in race number 2, we got a chance maybe to single to kick off the pick 4. And also as part of that early pick 5 sequence, if we spread in the opener, then in race number 2 with our key play, if we can lock down the 9 in here, that can be good for us. 9-4-5, the way I've got him handicapped in race number 2. Nighttime, second choice in here. Can't beat the clock. 3rd choice in here. Definitely should see some speed from the 5 for sure. So we got one towards the front of the pack to hang on. Perhaps you don't want to have all closers, obviously. Going 6.5 here at Keeneland. Speed's probably going to hold for a decent share of it. So probably want to get the 5 somewhere in your exacta in there, in the 2nd spot at the least. Let's go to the 3rd race on the card next up, and race number 3 as we go to the snapshot. I'll tell you, this is going to kick off the pick 6. No carryover in the pick 6. It got hit today. A pretty big number on the pick 6 that it went down. So we'll start with a fresh pot here. No carryover in race number 3 for the pick 6. Maiden special weights here, 3-year-olds and up. Again, we've got the 3-year-olds and some older horses mixing and matching in here. You've got the 3-year-old and the 4-horse. Really, in this race, not a lot of 3-year-olds taking the shot in here. The outside runner is a first-time starter, but a 4-year-old in Nick's Gate. Experienced horses in these maiden special 3 and ups going 6 furlongs have had a bit of a rule of the roost. Only 2 winners of the first-time starters from 15 such races that we've seen for 3 and ups going 6 furlong sprints here in the spring meets. Pretty formful races historically. 7 out of 15 of those were winning favorites. And this is a race where speed has been very difficult to beat. Speed horses, the average winner of these races for 3 and up maiden specials going 6, the average winner is a neck ahead after the opening half mile. That is a very far forward position for any distance or category of race, class of race at Keeneland. So this is one of the bigger speed profiles. If you can find which horses are going to get out to the front and kind of be right in the mix, I think you're in pretty good shape. Number 7, Dr. Park. I think we talk about favorites being 7 for 15 in these spots. I think Dr. Park's going to be a fairly solid favorite in this race. The top 3 in here, or the first 3 handicappers, certainly not the top 3. The first 3 on the list that you see across the way, Scott, Tom, and myself all have Dr. Park picked on top. This is Peter Urton with a former Southern California trainee. This horse was meant to be better than running, 4 years old and only making the second start. $850,000 son of Uncle Mo has a bullet workout for this. Flavian Pratt comes off a 3-win Tuesday. A lot to like about the 7, Dr. Park, and really the others who have run in here haven't shown a whole lot. So I've got it 7, 8, and 1. Don Corleone, my second choice in here, certainly has speed. This is a $1.2 million offspring by More Than Ready. Age 5, still a maiden after 9 starts. We know Don Corleone's going to break and show speed. He just hasn't been able to finish the deal. So not confident in him going wire to wire, but this is a good speed profile kind of race. But I think if you're sitting second, third, right behind Don Corleone, you're probably in the right spot. The 2, Zapping Strike, also has some speed in here. I've got it 7, 8, and 1. We'll stick to the older horses in here. As for the other handicappers across the way, Military Cruiser, top choice in here. Nick Vaccarezza, trainee's been off for a year, 4-year-old. Gelded first time and off the year break with Irad Ortiz riding. That'll be the top pick in here for Gabby. Gabby caught that nice $30 horse in the last race today at Keeneland. So be sure to tune in to today at Keeneland to get her reasoning why she's going with Military Cruiser there in race number 3. She's on the island, the only one picking the 5 in her top 3. I want to see the case that she makes, and she had a nice pick in the finale at a very nice price today. So good job by Gabby there. Let's go to the 4th race on the program, and race number 4 is the first of the 2 swing races on this card. 4th race starts the late pick 5. Again, it'll be part of the early pick 5. It'll be part of the early pick 4. And it will start the late pick 5. 8-pound spreads in this one when we talk about 126 down to 118. Now we're talking 3-year-olds against older, and now we're going a mile and a 16th. So 8 pounds difference over a mile and a 16th. If you really like one of the 3-year-olds, at least you're getting a weight break. But I still want to stick to the horses, the elders at this point. It's early, folks. I mean, it's April 9th for 3-year-olds to be running against elders. They better be in against a really bad field or have some sort of advantage over the group. In terms of where the horses come from in these races, typically, we got maiden claimers on the dirt going a route of ground. These races are very spread out in terms of circuits. Turfway's got 13 winners of 50 races that we've seen in dirt maiden claiming routes in spring meets. 13 from Turfway, 11 from Fairgrounds, 10 from Gulfstream. So these races, really, you don't hone in on any particular circuit. Number 2, Here's Your Trouble's got a lot going for him in this particular spot. Good draw. Flavian Pratt coming off a 3-win day. Brendan Walsh training. He is coming off a really good, solid group of days for Brendan Walsh. He's off to a great start at the meet. And the sire in here, Munnings, has already had 2 winners early in the meet. So Here's Your Trouble, probably a lot to like there. Didn't like the synthetic last time. The dirt form was pretty decent. I think the 2 would be effective in here with a good post position and one to certainly consider. The 13, Miss World Peace, I'm taking a shot off the also eligible list if this one happens to draw in. This is a horse who was from Southern California, showed up at Oaklawn over the winter for Dan Ward, a longtime assistant to Jerry Hollendorfer. Ward hasn't had big numbers this year, but this horse, despite the poor numbers at Oaklawn for the season for Ward, ran a good second last time out. That Oaklawn 25,000 ought to line up pretty well here. Second time for this horse going around 2 turns might be good. Jose Ortiz named the ride if we can get the 13 Miss World Peace into the field. Rock Harbor's probably the horse I end up scratching into unless we get lucky to get in off the AE list. The 5 Rock Harbor for Kenny McPeak comes off a race. It probably wins this. A good figure last time out at Fairgrounds. Was up near the pace all the way that day. Kenny McPeak's won 6 of these maiden claiming routes in the spring meet. Most of any trainer. This is kind of a little bit of his MO, so I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever if Rock Harbor just fits right in. Brian Hernandez coming off that big Tuesday, of course. He won the Toyota Bluegrass today. So Hernandez and McPeak, familiar team there. Rock Harbor would certainly be a big factor. 13, 5, 2, and 8, the way I see it there in race number 4. I don't feel like this race, unfortunately, we talk about the swing races. You'd love to have great opinions in both since they go through in and out of so many of the multi-race wagers. 4th and 5th race, I love the 5th race. 4th race, I'm not as wild about in terms of confidence. So I've got to use 3 to 4 runners in here. Again, 13, 5, 2, and 8. If the 13 scratches, that helps bring down a little bit in the multi-race wagers. But I definitely want to use at least the 5, 2, and 8 if the 13 doesn't go in race number 4. Now we get to race number 5, and we get something to get a little bit excited about. I like the horse really on paper by a pace scenario. Then I ran the stats and trends for these races, and then it just lines up. And this is why I really get excited about this particular horse. Race number 5, our best bet of the meet so far is going to be number 9, Demolition Duke. This race just looks like it's begging for a closer. The 2 Coast Along can cook. The 3 Unworkable can cook. The 4 Let It Ride can cook. They are going to go fast. Chisler, the 5, 6 Voltage, 7 Curly, Larry, Mo, 8 Urban Legend. They're like all right next to each other, and they all want to fly. This race absolutely is begging for a closer. Then when I ran the stats for race number 5, which is a turf sprint allowance race, we look back and we've had 61 of these in the spring meets over the years. The average winner of these races is 2.5 lengths off the pace after the opening half mile. That means they're already inside the quarter pole going 5.5 furlongs, and the average winner is 2.5 lengths off the pace. These races set up for closers. And I think what you get here is another allowance race with a ton of speed horses in. They're trying to go to the 5.5 because it's a dash on the turf. And you just get overloaded amounts of the same kind of horses in these races. And that's why they've set up for closers so much. A lot of times in the big stakes races, you might see a horse go wire to wire or be really strong on the front end in the turf sprint. But here in Keeneland, in allowance races like this, with a big field size, we got 10 plus a couple also eligibles. Well, we're not with 1 also eligible. This really sets up. I love Demolition Duke. He's going to be my top play so far of the meet. Race number 5, and it's one of those key races, the swing races in with all the different wagers. Demolition Duke also top pick for Scott, second choice for some of the others. Could this horse possibly be a favorite? Maybe, but I don't think the horse is going to be hammered on the tote, and I think we're going to get a fair price in here. And even if he does get bet down the favoritism, 5-2 in the morning line, I don't think the horse is going to be bet down lower than that. I don't think this horse is going to get just smoked in the wagering. You've got Flavian Pratt on the 2 Coast Along, who's going to take plenty of money. Horses run against some really classy company. There are some other options in this particular spot. Mike Stidham's got a horse who's going to get bet, the 6 Voltage. He's 8-1 in the line. I think he'll get bet down a little more. Stidham with a nice winner on the card today. And Ben Curtis riding for Stidham here. Ben Curtis off to a good start at the meet as well. So the 6 Voltage certainly one to keep an eye on. But 9 over the 8-6. I'm singling the 9. I'm putting all my eggs in the pace basket. The race shape sets up for the horse. The history of these races sets up for the horse. I like everything about him. Brendan Walsh is off to a good start at the meet. We already talked about Jose Ortiz has had a couple riding doubles already through the first 3 days of racing. Give me the 9, Demolition Duke. 7 ways to Sunday if we can. 7 ways on Wednesday is the way we really want Demolition Duke because, again, race number 5 ends the early pick 5. It ends the early pick 4. It's the second leg of the late pick 5, and it's the kickoff leg to the late pick 4. So I'm singling the 9 if we can build around that one. Demolition Duke, play of the day and play of the meet so far as we hit, 31 races in. That'll be the 36th race of the meet and my most confident tab in 36 races there in race number 5. Let's go to the 6th race next up on the card. This is a starter allowance, 6 furlong race in this one. No new wager starting here other than a late pick 3. Reminder, there's no turf pick 3 on Wednesday's card. We only have 2 turf races. So without more than 3 scheduled, you need 3 scheduled turf races in order for the turf pick 3 to be slated. We only have 2 turf races on the docket, so no Keeneland Turf Pick 3 offered on this Wednesday card. We've got number 4, Tiger's Legacy on top. Kind of a full house here, right? 4s over aces. The guys are going with the 4 Tiger's Legacy, Scott, Tom, and I. The ladies are going for the 1 Protege, and they've got Tiger's Legacy second. So 4 and 1 look like the way you kind of run through this race in the starter allowance company. The 4 Tiger's Legacy's coming off a couple nice races at Turfway Park, and last time out came against a horse who already has returned to win. This is a drop. The one time this horse ran for the 30,000 claiming level, which is how you get eligible for this race, the 4 Tigers Legacy won by 7.5 lengths. Hasn't been anywhere near a $30,000 claimer since. Bullet workout at Turfway for this. You get Flavian Pratt riding for a very good sprint trainer in Chris Davis. I think Tiger's Legacy is going to be tough in this particular spot. That's no surprise. A lot of the other handicappers have him as well, and he is 6-5 in the morning line. So no great shakes there in terms of finding value, but if you're looking maybe for another potential single, if we can single Demolition Duke, single Tiger's Legacy, we start to get to the back half of this pick 5 and pick 4. You can spread a little bit in race number 4. Again, going back to the snapshot so you can see how these wagers line up. Race number 4 is going to start that late pick 5. In the 4th race, we've got, a spread option where we said there's 3 or 4 horses you definitely want to use. As you go to race number 5, we've got a potential single on the horse we think could be around 2-1, 5-2, and a very positive single. And then we're going to get a short price with Tiger's Legacy. Maybe use the one Protege, as the ladies have that one on top as well. But I didn't give Protege the same kind of look they did. But this horse is, a candidate maybe to improve off the last race, because last time was on the synthetic down at Gulfstream Park. You get Irad Ortiz to ride, but I think they're going to have a real hard time beating Tiger's Legacy in this particular spot. Again, the one drop in for 30 way back when, won that race easily. Where was that race? Here at Keeneland, and won by 7. Horse for course on top of it, fits the conditions beautifully. You got Pratt. Too much to like there, I think. Tiger's Legacy becomes a second single for us in race number 6. So single the 5th, single the 6th. What do we do now as we get to race number 7? Race number 7 is a difficult race here. This is one where there are some good options. And you know what I say? I like to spread in races where there are good options, not in races where there are bad options and you can't find anything. There's a race with bad options and you can't find anything, you're probably passing on the sequence if you can't really lock anything down. This is a race, though, where there are very good options in race number 7. I think the best of which is on the also eligible list. I'm really looking forward to seeing him in this race. He ran a dynamite debut race at Oaklawn, and then they took a shot with him going long in his second career start because they were trying to see if he was going to be an Arkansas Derby type for trainer Ron Moquette. The son of McKenzie ran a decent second going long, but now they come back and they get another allowance race, 2 turns. Instead of throwing him to the wolves out of that race March 14th, I think him is a really good prospect for some of the 3-year-old stakes as we get further into the year. This would be a good spot for that runner. It's a difficult post, so therefore I think you have to use a bit of coverage in here. But the 13 him, to me, is the most naturally talented horse in this race off of what I've seen so far through 2 starts. But he will have a difficult post. So even if he gets into the race, he's my top choice. But he's by no means a single in here. I've got 13, 6, 2, 10, and the 14, another also eligible, Valentinian, an Into Mischief out of Rachel Alexandra's daughter, Rachel's Valentina. Of course, she was a major stakes winner in her own right. So him and Valentinian off the also eligible list are definitely must-uses for me in this spot. But 6, 2, and 10 also are horses you want to consider. Lion of Justice for Brad Cox, a $1.1 million son of Into Mischief. This horse comes off a big-time win at Colonial Downs on March the 15th, a race that totally spread-eagled the field. 16 lengths first to third in that one and got a big number. Lion of Justice absolutely has to be respected. The 2 Bracket Buster, offspring of Vacoma. The Vacomas run so well here. This horse won here in this fall at a big price. Came back in the Street Sense Stakes and hasn't been seen since. That Street Sense Stakes turned out to be pretty nice in October at Churchill, wouldn't you say? Sovereignty was the winner of that. He went on to win the Fountain of Youth and run second in the Florida Derby. The runner-up was Tiztastic, who came back to win the Louisiana Derby this spring. And the 3rd place finisher was just Sandman. All he did was win the Arkansas Derby last out. So the winners of the Fountain of Youth, the Louisiana Derby, and the Arkansas Derby ran 1, 2, 3 in the Street Sense back in October. Bracket Buster was 5th in that race, beat 9, certainly not embarrassed. It'll be his first start of the year for trainer Vicky Oliver. We'll see if the Payson workouts pay off there. It's a deep training center down there at Payson Park. Luis Saez named to ride Bracket Buster, but he may be off his mounts. We will see if we get Saez in the saddle or not. But I want to use some coverage in this particular spot. I'm not using the 8 Touchy in here, and that's Tom's pick, and he's by Nyquist, certainly a horse for course here with a win over the track at Keeneland in the fall, going 6.5 furlongs, and he's got the Nyquist pedigree to love it here at Keeneland, as we know. I'm just worried about 2 turns for this one. I thought the race at Sunland Park really had every chance and kind of backed up in that one, made a move to a certain point, and then just completely flattened out. That race has not come back to be very productive with Getaway Cart and Caldera. So Touchy for me, I'm going to make a little stand against in a race where I'm very, very deep. But if you want to go deep, and Tom makes a good case for Touchy in here for trainer Wesley Ward, then that would be another one that you can consider. Really nice 3-year-old allowance race. This race has a feel like it's not going to be Triple Crown important, but, Churchill Downs runs that stakes race called the Matt Win. It's run after the Kentucky Derby and kind of sets horses up towards like the Ohio Derby, West Virginia Derby, Iowa, Oklahoma. this race here, this allowance race, looks like it's going to have some horses for those kind of races throughout the summer that can make some good money. And based on the connections and the folks we see with these horses in those races, there could be some support for sure of those races across the Midwest. So interesting race in race number 7, but one that you want to spread. The good thing is, as we go back and take a look at the snapshot and review, we've got a spread in race 4. We've got single in 5 and 6. And now race 7, we're spreading with good options. And then we get to the 8th race where we have another key play on the card. So let's see if we can't lock down here in the nightcap and close it out with a nice winner in race number 8. In this race, I've got a horse. It's 12-1 in the morning line. And that is Nagano. Nagano, my top choice in here. Nobody else has Nagano in their top 3, so we're on the island. We're 12-1 in the morning line. A key play for us. So Brendan Walsh, who's off to a good start at the meet, brings this one back off a year layoff. This horse has run well fresh in the past. That's what I like. First time gelding here, Umberto Rispoli from Southern California coming in to ride. He rode the horse at Santa Anita. Now, you talk about a horse who's good, and you say, well, how do you know you're good coming off layoffs? Look at the past performance lines. Look at their first career race, because that's all based on training, right? There's no races leading up to it. It's, can you get a horse ready to run well with just workouts? Nagano's first career start at Del Mar in September of 23, a bang-up second in there to Formidable Man, a really good maiden allowance race there, second beat and a half length. Excellent debut. Then the horse laid off from October of 23 to April of 24, came back and won the maiden race at Santa Anita, first time back, beating British Isles, who's back in this race, who was the next out winner there. This horse has run twice fresh in his career, and he's run really well both times. 4-year-old son of Mendelssohn, one of my key plays of the day, 12-1 in the morning line. Give me all of Nagano in the last race. Do you want a single in here? Do you feel like you got to use some others? We've got a couple singles with Demolition Duke and Tiger's Legacy, so you really don't need a third single, but if you can feel confident enough to do so, then maybe you want to go ahead and roll with it. The 5 Rotterdams, the other one in here I think to consider, he's always right there. 7 first or second place finishes from 9 career starts. Never runs a bad one. These Gulfstream horses are typically pretty strong. This is a turf mile allowance race. I would expect Rotterdam to be pretty tough coming out of those races at Gulfstream Park. Now, the other thing, too, about these turf miles at Keeneland in the spring, horses coming off long layoffs, first start of the year, have an excellent record in these races. It's a very easy comeback spot for these horses historically, so I'm not worried about that long layoff for Nagano. The pace isn't wicked in these races. It's a 3-furlong dash to the wire. You need to be sharp. You don't need to be super fit. And I just like everything that's trending towards Nagano. 8, 5, and 3 are the top 3 I've got in here. British Isles has had a lot of chances, 1 for 15 lifetime. Already got beat by Nagano. Quality horse, though, beating only 3 lengths in the Hollywood Derby, 2 of the aforementioned Formidable Man. So you talk about Nagano, the losses that he's had have been against some really good horses. Hollywood Derby winner Formidable Man beating the half length in their mutual debuts back in 2023. So Nagano for me in the last, and I'm going to, if it comes down to single or spread for me when I'm talking about building a ticket, I will always lean to the single. If I think I can single a horse versus spreading, because if you go 4 or 5 deep in here versus a single, that means your ticket's going to cost 4 or 5 times as much. And when you hit a pick 5, you're hitting it once most of the time, right? You're not hitting it for 5, 6, 7 different combinations on the same ticket. So if you're going to hit it, you might as well play the lower combination, deliver, and then you've got more budget if you want to play it more than one time. Instead of playing the same ticket going 5 deep, you could play the same ticket 5 times for the same budget investment. And then when you hit it, not only have you hit the pick 5, you've hit it 5 times. Get paid when you're right. That's the strategy. It can be a little painful at times for sure, because you're going to have every once in a while, oh, if I would have went 3 deep or 4 deep, I would have hit this last leg. But think about all the times that you overspend and spend 3 times as much as you should, 4 times as much as you should, 5 times as much as you should by going 4 or 5 deep in a race when you could have singled. It adds up, and it adds up quickly. And the best strategy is to get paid when you're right and attack. So I'm going to single Nagano in the last race. How about the other handicappers here, and which should be a pretty wide open race? British Isles, the 3, the 13 Sicilian Defense, the 7 Domingo, and the 11 Presider also get top picks. 5 handicappers, 5 different horses picked on top. So if you like a horse at a price, this is going to be a wide open race. Hopefully we're on the right one. we might get bet down a little bit off that 12-1 morning line, and that would be just fine, especially when you're playing pick fours, pick five. Sometimes those morning line prices are a little higher, can still play as a nice long shot in the multi-race wagers, even if they get bet down intra-race. So Nagano is going to wrap things up as my key play of the day in the nightcap. And if you're looking to play that race, don't forget the Toyota Super High Five, $32,121 in the carryover. So let's key the 8, Nagano, and then as the rest of the high five goes, 5, 3, 10, and 7 would be the ones I like in that particular order. We're not going to cold cock a super high five and hit the top 5 in order. We're not fooling anybody saying that. But the 5 horses I like in here, if you're looking at putting a ticket together, I'd start with the 8 over the 5, 3, 10, and 7. And then try to shake out your ticket from there. Full field of 12 with also eligible should be a great betting race in the finale. And again, when $32,000 are in a carryover, that is free money to be playing for. It's dead money in the pool. Unless you played the super high five today and lost, it's none of your money in here. It's only going to increase the payoffs after you're successful in hitting it. That's why carryovers are such a good play in horse racing. It's money that's not can do anything to beat you. Not a single dollar bet in that $32,000 carryover can beat you tomorrow. The only money in the pool that can beat you is the live money that is played on Wednesday. Should be a great day of racing. Again, conditions should be fantastic. Temperature 57 degrees, the forecasted high. Big swing races in races 4 and 5 on that 8-race card, so be sure to put in your extra handicapping time there. I'll be back in the morning with an update after scratches and changes with a live hit on social media at Horse Player Now and at Keeneland Racing. On behalf of everybody with Keeneland, I want to wish you a great night, and we'll be back tomorrow night, 8:30 Eastern, to preview the Thursday 9-race program. Until then, good night, everyone.